So, hello everyone, and I hope everyone is doing well. So, continuing with the long and winding road of chapter 11, I just want to call out this section over here. This basically tells you that why it's important to diversify, all in an equation here, okay? So, I'm going to try to cut some of this short because this is going on and on, but notice it says here volatility of a portfolio with arbitrary weights. And this is equation 11.13 in your book. And this states that each security contributes to the volatility of the portfolio according to its volatility or total risk, scaled by its correlation with the portfolio. Okay, here's its correlation, which adjusts for the fraction of the total risk that is common to the portfolio. Therefore, when combining stocks into a portfolio, that puts positive weight on each stock unless all of the stocks have a perfect positive correlation of +1 with the portfolio and thus one another. The risk of the portfolio will be lower than the weighted average volatility of the individual stocks. And you can see if the correlation is basically negative, basically what will happen is you see there's a sum here. So the risk tends to be lower because of this correlation, okay? And as we sum these, so I kind of highlighted. I'll highlight some of these items here, and this comment here is somewhat important, right? They're just letting you know that by diversifying, you decrease your volatility, all right? And that's pretty important. Okay, so all right, so I want to move on. All right, so there's an example here, and we get into this concept called an efficient portfolio. And all an efficient portfolio, I'm using your text, by the way, all right, basically is what portfolio can I combine? And they show you Intel and Coca-Cola here, right? Intel and Coca-Cola. And this is called an efficient frontier. So basically, this is and it's a hyperbola, and it's an efficient frontier. And what this is telling you is even if I'm willing to take on more volatility, do I get a higher return? And that's what the red indicates, okay? So these parentheses, this is Intel, percentage-wise. This is Coke, Intel, Coke, okay? Now you'll notice here, if I have just Coke, I have a higher return, but I have a lower return with higher volatility. But look here, if I take on 20% of Intel, I will get a higher expected return, but I get a lower volatility. See that? It hits the volatility curve here. But for the rest of these, this is the efficient portfolio that, if I'm willing to take on more volatility, I'm going to get a higher return, okay? So that's called the efficient frontier. All right, and that's reflected in your slides. All right, so here is that in the slides. Okay. Okay, so anyway, here's an example from your book with an efficient portfolio. All right, so basically correlation doesn't have an effect. So these are important bullet points with regards to correlation. All right, correlation has no effect on the expected return of a portfolio. So this is a good true and false question, right? I mean, you see what I'm saying, right? However, the volatility of the portfolio will differ depending on the correlation. So correlation affects volatility, but not expected return. All right. So lower correlation basically lowers the volatility. Okay, so you'll notice here as the correlation is going down, you see these curves here? It looks at correlations -1. I get less volatility, right? You notice the curve is bending toward lower volatility as the correlation between my stocks bends toward that way. So I just wanted to make you aware of this. There's a lot of things about the efficient frontier here. All right, so there's a term called short sales. All right, so a long position, I don't know, they kind of threw this in, but a long position means what? You bought stock, right? You have a positive investment in a security, and all that means is you're long, you bought, you owning it. All right. Basically, a short position, you sell a stock that you don't own. This is important, and a lot of people do this. This is real life, right? And you're going to buy it back in the future. And why do you do that? Because you're selling it for basically the high price that it's currently at, and you're hoping it's going to drop. And let me just tell you this: in real world today, the shorts made trillions of dollars on the coronavirus. Okay, so the shorts probably they had short positions that they sold, and then as soon as the market really tanked, they sold. They bought cheap. Okay, so you can clearly understand how short selling works if there is systemic risk in the markets. All right, so there's a couple examples here, and you could go through these. The math is pretty basic. If you have any questions on these examples, I'm trying to get through this chapter 11 here. All right, so here's the portfolio of Intel and Coke now. We're allowing for short sales here. And if you do short selling, you'll notice here that the volatility is going down here, right? Here you're long both stocks, but here, well, the dash means you're short, okay? So you notice you're short, and then you're short here, okay? And basically the short, you'll notice that as the volatility goes down, by being short on a portfolio here, okay, you're kind of diversifying the other way here. So your volatility is going down, right? This is going down while your return is going up, okay? And then if you go long, okay, now your volatility, if you're long both, is going up, but so is your expected return. But then over here now, if you're long Intel, notice here you're short Intel, long Coca-Cola, and here you're long Intel and you are short Coca-Cola. So you'll notice here that as the volatility is going up, so is your expected return. So you will, in this case, it's opposite of this. You're willing to take on, more volatility, but you're getting a larger return. And in this case here, which is unusual because you're short Intel, your volatility has gone down, right? But your expected return has gone up. Okay, so short selling puts a different twist on everything. All right, so anyway, now that they added another stock here, so they just keep showing you the ramifications of portfolios. So I'm kind of gonna breeze through these now because we still have another 60 slides to go here. All right, so this is an important point, and I just want to make this point. They draw a tangent line, and it basically says to earn the highest possible expected return for any level of volatility, we must find the portfolio that generates the steepest possible line when combined with a risk-free investment. And that's called the Sharpe ratio. And here's the equation for the Sharpe ratio. And this measures the ratio of reward to volatility provided by a portfolio. So the Sharpe ratio is defined as the portfolio excess return above what you expect, right? Excess above the risk-free rate, right? You notice they're subtracting the risk-free rate from your portfolio expected return over your portfolio volatility. So again, this is the Sharpe ratio is the portfolio with the obviously if this is larger, your Sharpe ratio is larger. So this is called the tangent portfolio, okay? So let me show this to you in your book. If I could find your book. So here's page 386. So this is the Sharpe ratio here. So I just want to make that point. So you just have to know the definition of the Sharpe ratio, and that's about it. So here's the equation for the Sharpe ratio, right? And here is some of the definitions. Okay, I mean just the terms are important. You're not going to be tested on this math. Okay, I know you may be concerned about that.